In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 steps that helps you optimize cortisol and make it your friend, not lower it. We don't want to lower it because that lowers your growth index for a stress response. And I'll speak to that very shortly, but it predicts all kinds of success. So we can make cortisol our friend and optimize for it, and also increase our growth index and testosterone at the same time. Now, first and foremost, we are biochemical. We are driven hormonally. And a lot of people like myself, I didn't get that. So when I learnt that from Professor Sapolsky and other hardworking scientists, I was like, well, shit, I have to get this right. So the first piece of the puzzle is showing you all about this growth index, and then we're going to roll into the 5 steps. So you ready? Let's hit it. Do you see that? We are biochemical. I used to have panic attacks, performance anxiety. That's stress hormones shutting your brain down right here. So this, when I read this from Professor Sapolsky, I was like, well, shit, of course. Have you ever been in a test, doing a presentation at work, and your brain just loses its damn marbles on screen? Well, that's it there, right? Have you heard also about Malcolm Gladwell? He says that the 10,000 hour rule, you have to practice for 10,000 hours to be a master. Professor Sapolsky called bullshit on that. He said 10,000 hours of practice doesn't guarantee the neuroplasticity needed to become the next Einstein or Michael Jordan. And the reason for that is very simple. Do you see where I'm circling around here? So when you go into a stress response, stress hormones, right? Hormones, a hormonal response. Loss of frontal regulation. What does that mean? Problem solving goes to shit. Willpower goes to shit. Higher thinking goes to shit. And you can't recall the information, the intellectual information. So that's problem 1. Now, back on screen. This is problem number 2. This is what happened to me. You also lose virtue, empathy, compassion, caring, warm-heartedness, but also vigor and courage to take the day on. So we are driven hormonally, powerfully. And this is what you're missing out on. Back on screen. The growth index for a stress response. Superior military performance. But you're like, dude, Mark, I don't give a shit about the military. I don't want to go there. Physical performance. That's what that means. But this second research paper here, problem solving and academic performance, that might interest you. That might interest you. So it doesn't matter what kind of success you want, whether it's success in the bedroom, in the boardroom, anywhere. The geyser predicts that success. You might have trouble with performance anxiety. I did. I had trouble with performance anxiety. As soon as you went to perform, the brain lost frontal control and the old amygdala perked up, and it's like you want to get out of there. So you stammer your way through it. You don't do a good job. You got ums and ahs because you can't recall the information calmly and concisely, just like this. So when your voice is running very fast like this, you're very emotional and it's very hard, and then all of a sudden you just, the brain just goes to shit. This is what you want to stop. And what I want to get you into is this challenge response. Are you a flip-flopper? I used to be, and I thought that was okay. You go from a stress response, too hot, too bored and tired, too cold. Flip, flop, flip, flop. What you want to do is know how to get into a challenge response. This is the geyser, because when you're there, testosterone increases, DHEA increases, but also feel-good hormones. I'm accomplishing my goals. I love this. And the more you stay there, the brain wants to go back to that challenge response because it feels amazing. The challenge response is addictive. Addictive. So what I would love to share with you now is pillar number 1. I want to walk you through it to show you how you can make cortisol your friend and at the same time increase your geyser, testosterone, and feel-good hormones. But feel-good hormones are a double-edged sword. In the masterclass in pillar 5, I'll show you why. So we sure as hell want to feel good, but we want to feel challenged too. We want to be hungry for life. So let's have a look at the geyser. So this is the geyser, and this is how easy it is to keep up high. So let me walk you through what that looks like. And at the end of this, I want to also speak to what Chris Voss, former FBI lead negotiator, said, the 3 decisions we can make, and also my mentor, his guarantee to me. And it was sure as hell right. So on screen there, let me just get rid of this now. So the geyser, this is pillar 1. Pillar 1. So if you've seen my video on testosterone in the coal mine, we know that testosterone is the metric, because if it's up, literally everything else is up, including the geyser. And the geyser, as we've just had a look at, it predicts all kinds of success. So it's extraordinarily important that we get this right. And all the geyser is the ratio of dihydroepiandrosterone, that neural steroid that makes you stronger from stress. So you want to meet a challenge instead of running from the challenge and burying our head in the sand. DHEA and the cortisol. Now, cortisol is just misunderstood. It likes to do the same thing every day. But these chemicals and Western slave food throw that hormonal response out. And the interesting thing about DHEA and cortisol is that they've got the same precursor. The same precursor, ACTH. And it's released in a pulsatile manner 40 times a day. So it follows the rhythm of the body day after day after day. So over a 24-hour period, 24-hour period right here. So you got 6 a.m. here, 6 p.m. here, and 6 a.m. here. Now, cortisol rises with you in about a 6-hour window, but also when you get it right, so does DHEA, and the geyser is optimized. Now, around about here, 11, 12 o'clock, it peters off cortisol. It's supposed to. And you're supposed to make a lot of DHEA. And this is the amazing thing about DHEA. It has a bank. Your body deems it that important that it's got a reservoir. And the reason for that is it can turn back into DHEA, and you can still continue to kick ass throughout the day. Or if you need to, it can turn into testosterone, right? So this is how important DHEA-S is, but it can also turn into the female hormone, estrogen, estradiol, E2. And we don't want that. That's not ideal. So around about here, melatonin takes over, the sleep hormone, but it also is the brain's power cleanse, melatonin. It opens up the lymphatic system, and it also creates a pool of executive regulatory neurotransmitters. So when you wake up here, you're focused, you're ready to go. And around about here, this is when the bulk of your testosterone for men is created. 70 to 80% This is why sleep is extraordinarily important. Most people can sleep through the night, but they don't get into the zone where testosterone is created. This is from the research. You'll see this in the masterclass. Slow wave sleep. So you need about 3 hours of slow wave sleep to create all the testosterone for the following day. So you only need 5 things to be true to make that happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My guarantee to you is this. As my coach said to me, if you're having any more than a couple of off days a month, you're doing something wrong, and you can easily fix this. And this is the 5 steps. So what we have to know is what stimulates cortisol and also inflammation, because inflammation stimulates cortisol and cortisol stimulates inflammation. So, little box over here. The second thing we have to understand is what the clamps are. So what clamps our friend over here? Testosterone. Because if it clamps testosterone, it clamps the geyser. Our geyser comes down, right? We feel off. We make bad decisions. We are stress-based. The next thing we have to know is what wastes it. Over here. What turns it into estrogen? Now clearly that's not ideal. In the masterclass, I'll speak to that. And the fourth thing we have to do is know how to strengthen our 2 internal stress breaks. You've got 2. The human brain, the prefrontal cortex, and the descending vagus nerve. And they are super simple to strengthen up. And the 5th thing you have to know how to do, now remember over here, I said that ACTH is produced in a pulsatile manner. Which one do you want ACTH to be making? DHEA or cortisol? Now, by thought alone, you can produce DHEA. The mindset to produce DHEA and also testosterone. But if you want to, you can produce feel-good hormones too. But feel-good hormones are a double-edged sword. Why? That's for the masterclass, and I'll speak to that in pillar number 5. So, right now, is it a ridiculous idea, okay? Is it a ridiculous idea to think that you can't get this right? If you know this, what stimulates cortisol, if you know what that is, and also inflammation, if you know what the clamps are to stop testosterone, the metric, if you know what the clamps are, and if you know what wastes testosterone, there's a lot of things that waste testosterone. And if you know how to strengthen up the 2 internal stress breaks to stop cortisol dead in its tracks, and you know how to use your mind to produce DHEA and DHEA and testosterone and feel-good hormones, very respectfully, is it a dumbass idea to think that you can't do this? Knowing that these 5 steps can unlock you. Follow the natural rhythm of the body, day after day. Is it a bad idea to think that you can't do this? Because if you believe that, you can do this and you want to give it a shot, information below about how to access the masterclass. And while I'm speaking about this, Chris Voss, former FBI lead negotiator, he said every single morning you wake up, we've got 3 choices. And I'm going to show you that you're being influenced by stress hormones with these 3 choices. Choice number 1, we can put things off, second guess our abilities, and say we can do it tomorrow. That's stress hormones. Professor Sapolsky says that stress hormones harbor negative emotions. We worry about what other people think. We put things off. We second guess our abilities. We say we can do it tomorrow. Or choice number 2, we can force our way through the day hoping that we'll have the energy. That's what I used to do. I used to flip-flop between both of those. Or, as my coach said to me in late 2017, he said, Mark, as I mentioned before, if you're having any more than a couple of off days a month, you're doing something wrong, but you can easily fix this. All you got to do is follow the natural rhythm of the body. Get rid of these chemicals. Get rid of Western slow food. And I speak to this in the masterclass, and so do the functional medical doctors that I've had the great opportunity to interview. And my friend, Dr. Anthony J, he's also helped me with my bad genetics. He's helped me mimic elite genetics. Now, this is something you can do, and it's not difficult. That's the amazing thing. So if you want to check out the masterclass, details are below. So my job is to get you off autopilot. My job is to get you off autopilot and over to this side. Sean Aker, Harvard-trained psychologist, says we're 31% smarter in positive psychology. Positive emotion. That's a hormonal response. Stress hormones, we know this, they make us feel like shit. But to add insult to injury, they take out your moneymaker. Loss of prefrontal regulation. What does that mean? So you're going to lose executive control, higher thinking, willpower, problem solving. But we also lose our virtue, compassion, empathy, warm-heartedness, caring, but also vigor to want to take the day on because we're stressed. We're sick and tired of it. We want to go home. We're done. And I called that life. When my voices in my head, these negative thoughts started perking up, I thought this was normal. Oh, hell no. If you're having any more than a couple of off days a month, you're doing something wrong. But you can easily fix this. So the next video you can watch, this is in the playlist. This playlist that I call Ground Zero. So this is all about the guys and how if you follow the natural rhythm of the body, you come back online. The next one that you should watch is Testosterone in the Coal Mine if you haven't already watched it. Now, can you screenshot this for me? If you found it helpful, go across to Instagram and tag me in it in a story and I'll shout you out. I'd really appreciate that. So, just to recap, what we want to do is get you into a challenge response. Away from the stress response and being bored, distracted, and tired. And we want to keep you with frontal regulation. We don't want the amygdala to hijack your success and produce stress hormones. We want you to kick ass at work or as an entrepreneur. Get away from performance anxiety. And all performance anxiety is weak. Those 2 stress breaks that I spoke to, if they're weak, they're going to switch on performance anxiety like this, as quick as you like. And they'll flood your system with stress hormones. Again, Professor Sapolsky, Malcolm Gladwell, it's a good train of thought, and I guess the successful people just have a genetic advantage over us. But 100 hours, 10,000 hours of practice doesn't guarantee the neuroplasticity needed to become the next Einstein or Michael Jordan. And this is what we're fighting for. The geyser, to keep it up high and locked in, day after day. So there it is. Screenshot this, go across to Instagram, tag me in the story, and I'll shout you out. Next up, Testosterone in the Coal Mine, or you can just head to the masterclass.